Folks, let's clap it up. Another year, another great year, another lot of movement happening. 25. This is Creative Financing with JB. I'm so excited. I'm excited because we come to another whole year. 52 podcasts this year. 52 that was accomplished. Some with guests, a lot with guests, some without guests, some with folks that's doing their business. But what makes it also great right now is that we get to celebrate tonight. Tonight is a night of celebration of things that then happen. And as I was reviewing my calendar, I was like, yo, there's so much going on. I'm excited. I'm excited. I want to give a shout out to my son. His birthday today. God bless you, man. I love you. You just made that big 26. Man, keep doing great things out there as we start to grow. You know, that's another excitement for me today. But I just look back and I had to sit down and do a recollection on the history of what's been going on. Where have I been? What am I doing? What accomplishments have I had? You know, I'm thankful to Chuck. You know, he's been riding with me since day one of this thing when I had no clue. I had no understanding what was happening, what this podcast was. You know, he gave me some insight. I watched, I learned, I listened, I followed folks, I seen what they were doing. And I expanded. So, you know, I give all my thanks to God for one, that gave me the energy to get out every Tuesday at 7 o'clock and be consistent about it. You know, regardless who was here, what was going on, just being consistent with it. And that's what I want to teach and preach, you know. But I'm excited because I made it 52 weeks this year. 52. Which, you know, sometimes, you know, I wasn't always available in the perfect space, but, you know, we made it happen. We tended to gifts. We listened to stories. We talked about what was happening in the community. We've seen a lot of ups, a lot of downs but I just want to go through my calendar and just look at some of the stuff that I have had the opportunity to do. And folks, I'm saying this because y'all have the same gusto to come out, perform every week. And guess what? Be intentional about it. You heard me say that before. What does that mean? Being intentional about it is being able to go out here, perform week after week, regardless what happens, regardless rain, sleet, snow, somebody made you upset, you didn't have a great day, you know, your business didn't turn out like it is, but showing up and doing it consistently is being intentional and knowing that you're doing it with the love of what you like to do. I love to connect folks. I love for people to win out here. How do I show my love for that? I put them on the show. I talk about their business. I support their business. I go out there and I make sure that they are available in the community. And, you know, we're going to embark on a new year next year. Just next week, we're going to start another year, another time to be grateful for stuff. And I said, it's no better way to end the year but to talk about stuff that has happened. And I just want to go back and I just remember some of my hosts. One of my hosts back that I had in February is Mr. Siegfried Howe Ford. And I had a wonderful time with him for that. He talked about relationships, and the ability to stay in a relationship and how do you manage that relationship. And I took some of that knowledge that he gave, and I said, I want to just incorporate that into my life. So I went out there and I just started building relationships with people out in the community. They didn't know me nothing. I didn't know them nothing. I just want to have a relationship, see how we all can win in this game. And shout out to Mr. Howe. I thank you for doing that. He's coming back again this year, folks. He's coming back to keep equipping us with that relationship mentality, because when we have that and we showing love and we doing it out of love, we doing it out of purpose, we doing it just not for the moment, but over the whole time. And guess what? We are just feeling the vibe of that. And that's what's key out here. I want to encourage y'all folks that any relationship y'all have built this year, I want you to start nurturing it next year. You should have nurtured it when you got the relationship. But what do I mean by nurture it? Having good conversation, having open dialogue, seeing how everything's working. Don't let it be one-sided. Don't just go and say that, oh man, I done did enough for them. Now it's their time to give for me. Let's nurture. Let's have that. And man, Chuck, thanks. I appreciate what you do. Thanks. And Nicole, I thank my sister right there, Nicole. I thank Keisha. This is our thankful time. We just going back and looking at some of the stuff we did this year and stuff. And we were just talking about in February, I had Siegfried out, and we was working on relationships, how to build those relationships, how to go about and make sure that everybody's on the same page, making sure that we're talking the same language. Because we get in some of these relationships and they're only as good as that person can do for me. That's not a relationship. That is not a relationship. What you do for them is what they do for you. Where you share is where they share. So build those relationships. And business is a key. How do your business grow without you building relationships? Not saying all the people that you go into or you work with in business that you always going to have a relationship, but it can be a respectable relationship. And Mr. Howell talked about walking through those relationships with honesty, integrity, and standing up for the goals that you have set forth. So in 2026, my goal is to keep building relationships, is to stabilize those relationships, to understand what those relationships mean, and understand how we succeed at those relationships. And when we do that, that makes it a great year, Chuck. Yeah, it makes it a great year. It makes it outstanding. And guess what? It makes you feel free. You're into a mode of appreciation where I can just say, thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Keisha. I appreciate that relationship we have in this business and what we're doing, that they're able to go out there and say, hey, you know what? That made sense. Maybe we could extend our business going from there and going there. And in relationships, you got to be true about it, folks. You have to be true. You have to know that what you're doing really makes sense, and let people know where they've fallen short. And that's not bad in a relationship of letting people know where you fall short. In business, we have to tell each other, you know what, it's probably not a good move, or watch out, or this happened, see how that happened so we can not have that happen again. And guess what? That's how the relationship gets stronger, because now we can have open conversation. And that was so important in February, talking about that relationship. For I don't want to skip over my good friend, guy that supported me several times this year too, Senator Buxton. We came on with some real heartfelt conversations. Stuff happened out in the community, how we build up our community, what people views is. And Senator Buxton gave some good advice there. In our education system, we need to make some changes. We need to go out there and do some things that can make it a better way for our children to learn, holding parents accountable, And that's nothing but respect that I have for Senator Buxton, as he spread that word. He's always on there, and I have a lot of respect for what he does out there in the community. I even saw him out here at some um, events that we had in Dover, where we were giving away haircuts and, you know, promoting businesses out here, for giving away food and stuff. And he showed up. He showed up. He came. He gave his insight on stuff. And guess what? Well respected. When you see Senator Buxton out there, he has a true heart of caring, that he really cares and he really wants to go that extra mile for everybody to win. Folks, I was listening one time and I learned that we don't have to agree on everything, but if we have respect of our disagreement, it can go a long ways. And that's what happens here. All of our politicians have different values, different thought, different processes. Guess what? It's good to understand them. We don't have to agree, but we have to be respectful. How do we be respectful? Acknowledging what they're saying and giving them what they are. But the most important part of it is being truthful about it, highlighting what really is happening so we know that we have folks out here that's going to give me the honest to goodness truth. They're going to let me know that this is what it is, not to hurt your feelings, but this is where we're falling short at. This is where we change our lifestyle at. And that's what's happening. With Senator Buxton, he knows that our school system is falling short. We changed a whole lot from when I came up as a kid, where it wasn't an option to go to school. We didn't consider homeschooling. We had accountability from the teacher to the parent. The parent, we know that when we got home and that teacher called our parent, we're going to have some type of discussion, some type of discipline. And guess what? We accepted that. We didn't dare go back and try to hit our parents or fight them back. I can tell you I would have never did that because, I understand the results of what would have happened if that happened and I hit my parents. So we need to go back to those basics, and we got to continue to talk about it. We got to continue to talk about the opioid epidemic out here that we're facing. The addiction levels are very high. We see a lot of stuff happening in our community, and Senator Buxton was very, very provide some very good insight on that. That we want to make sure that we want to keep going and acknowledge, understand how we go forth in it, understand how we can combat it, for it out here, and helping one another. Everybody have their own decisions. Everybody makes their own decisions. Everybody have their own thought process, how they want to live and stuff. But once we provide a resolution to them and we don't fail them as a community, then the community and the law enforcement has to act accordingly to make sure we protect our streets and protect our youth from the stuff that's happening out here. Is everybody a bad person that's out here? No. Some of us just fell into that realm and we need help and don't know how to help it. But building centers for opioid addiction and having somebody come and talking, really giving insight about how we can help these folks, how we can save their lives, how that we can think one more time of keeping them off the streets in some good shelter out of harm's way, for it. And sometimes it calls for a little tough love scenario where we have to set up a center where they have to be that in in-house program for them to get some type of living assistance, drug education on that. And our people out here in the community, our nurses, our doctors, our counselors, and our advocates out here to help those folks live another day. It's important to them, and we acknowledge them. Senator Buxton, shout out to you, man. I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you providing that time that you did this year for us that gave me a new insight on what we're really facing for it on what we're doing out here to make this whole community a better way. And we just going to keep marching forward. So we talked about that. Also, I want to talk about good friend of mine, DJ Cox. Shout out to our Register Wills, excuse me, where DJ came on. We congratulated him for his efforts of him reaching that and having that victory to become our next King County Register of Wills. But he gave us some insight of stuff that has moved up, stuff that we have integrated to get us to the next step, online stuff. Your wills. Folks, I'm going to say it again, your will. Get your will. Make sure you have somebody that's able to give you a good will, some type of legal counsel. As DJ Cox said, they have a list of attorneys and resources that they have that the people do it. And guess what? Go there and let that happen. Let somebody look at your will, provide that so you can leave your real estate and your loved ones know what your intentions was when you pass away. We don't want the guessing game. The guessing game have put us in a lot of different tangles, and man, it put us in some family tears. It had broken up the family because we didn't have a will in place and we wasn't able to really go about it in a right way to find out who was supposed to get what. What was mama's intention when she passed away um for getting us, of her jewelry, of her class ring, or her wedding band, or that coat she left, that somebody always loved. Those type of things are important that we pass down in the legacy of what happened. And DJ Cox was said, hey, they set up a safe now. You can have a stamp notarized and they can lock it up to have for you and to be able to go back and get it, to when somebody do pass on or transition on. And those are things that are so important. They're very important to us, so we can have it. But, the Register of Wills is still out here. We plan to have them again next year. And not only have them, our plan is that they can come on and they're going to do a couple of events this year to tell us some of the stuff that's going on in the department, to talk about wills and estates, have somebody legally come out that specialize in that to give us that information we need for it. So y'all look forward to that great year with that wills and estate stuff. That he's been in the office for almost a year. Another month will be a year that he had it, and we thankful that he's out here in the community and he's doing a lot of good stuff for us as well. He's out there for the parade on the green, and he's talking to folks in the community. He's giving them insight they need to carry on, insight they need to continue to go on to the next level and kind of learn of what happens to property, how do they operate, what does the Register of Wills have to offer, times of operations, and contact information if you have some. So, man, we thank DJ Cox for his 1 year anniversary coming up. We thank him for coming on and talking about what's going on out here in our community and the enhancements that has happened um, as we went through this year for it and stuff. And folks, I'm just so I'm excited about it because it's a really life changing event here. That when we have that, so something else we wanted to talk about was Sonia from Delaware Lions. Our lady, she's out there. She's counting the homeless. She's taking notes. She's providing some insight of how we can protect them as they continue to um, seek ways for housing. We learned that these people on the park benches, used to get tickets and stuff. How we forgiving people when they wasn't able to pay their bills for a point in time. You know, and they want a second chance when they go rent a place. But making sure that we shorten the homeless population every time, that makes a difference. We need to do that so we can be able to see the people off the street and that they won't be in a homeless situation, that we can find ways to make sure that we reach them. We let them know about help that we have out here in the community, and that it works out. It works out perfectly. It does us very, very well to have that going on. I'm just looking through my list of folks that we had too. Someone also I want to talk about, a good friend of mine, and I'm probably going to talk about him twice. He is Rodney Little. Shout out to Rodney Little. Shout out to NAVETS. Shout out to Vice Commander. Shout out to Joyce, which is our secretary. Shout out to Colonel Sutton, which is our vice commander, for that. We're out here for our veterans, and Rodney stands there doing claims, making sure people get their benefits, making sure they're available for their benefits, setting up meetings, talking in the community. He did a coat drive for us where first time he gave out 900 coats and early, and then again at the end of the year, we giving out 2,500 more coats. Those are people that we want to acknowledge. We want to make sure that folks know that they're in our community, they're progressing for what we're doing out here. I am thankful for that. This is a year of growth because we didn't see that. I didn't see that. I don't know if anybody else seen that. We providing these services and coats because we seen one guy that passed away from coldness, and we're still fighting to make sure that we don't have another one like that. So shout out to Mr. Sergeant Major Little. As you're out there, you're probably still working, trying to do claims, talk to the folks, letting the community know about the veterans. As he talked about our growth, and this is the excitement that coming, that we're going to have a Veterans Day parade. That is so amazing to go, that we're going to have that come to Dover. We see it in other states, and it's amazing that those type of things is able to work in our favor, and get to honor our veterans out here. Shout out to every veteran out there. If you know anybody that's homeless in the veteran community, we want to give a shout out to them as well for it. Those are some of the um, things that Mr. Little have done and have built our community up, to acknowledge the veterans out here, to continue to build us up. He sits on several boards. We got to thank him for his um, effort and his resilience, that he keeps going out time after time after time and doing the things that's necessary out here. For we have folks on here, and I'm looking through my list. We had Mr. Reginald talking about credit, why it's important, how is it utilized, and folks, I'm in the finance game. I'm gonna teach that too. I'm blue in the face. We gotta manage our monies. We gotta be good stewards. We gotta do things that are necessary for we can have a solid living. Why out here work hard and blow our money? Why would we even go down that pathway of doing anything like that? It makes no sense. It's no reason that that should be happening. And guess what? And with that happening, how do we change that? How do we get better on that narrative to make sure that don't keep happening? So I want to make sure that we give Reggie a heads up that we continue to talk about credit, keeping it functional. In 2026, we're gonna have uh, um, a lot of events that's going to talk about credit, how to protect it, how to finance it, how to make sure that you are in a good place with your credit, and how to manage it. We all have to learn that, and it don't happen overnight. It's a process that keeps going, and that's where we're going to grow in 2026. We're going to make sure that folks know how to spend their money wisely. We're going to make sure how people know how to budget. People know how to shop and don't feel that you owe yourself something because you work hard. What you owe yourself is financial freedom. You owe yourself the opportunity to be free and out of debt, and not always looking to figure out a way how to get over with the debt, but to work through the debt and to work through it honestly, and to fight the good fight with managing that debt. And when it's all said and done, we can be better stewards as we're out here in this community, and we can pass it on to our children, the next generation. Because folks, if we don't tell people how to manage this and it keeps going generation after generation, we don't grow. Our community don't grow. Our community suffers. Our housing population suffers, and we're here so people won't be homeless. Our kids are getting out of college with all this college debt, and they're not able to maneuver. They take the first job they have, and they're always playing catch up, and it gets frustrating. But we're going to stop that right now. We're not letting no one else get frustrated. We're not letting no one else get overwhelmed. We're teaching the principles to make it change, to make a difference in there, to being able to overcome. But it comes with discipline. It comes from time and understanding of what has happened in our community. And why we don't want it to happen again, why our communities are probably at a lower level than they was 10, 20 years ago, because we haven't managed this. We losing homes, we losing cars. And then next thing you know, we're stuck in this apartment where we have to work two jobs to pay the rent. Our goal is to go to the next step. Don't let it overwhelm us, and keep growing step after step. 2026 is going to be a big year, big results. It's going to be better than 2025, because guess what? We're going to have more people on a black side instead of the red side of the economy here, and they can feel even better and stronger as they go through it. So shout out to that. We want to talk about, I had a couple of partners of mine in the mortgage game, Mr. Greg Clark, Mr. Ken Glover, I thank y'all for coming on, that we share experience together. They have programs that we all offer. But the best thing about it is we're trying to put people in houses that's affordable, that they keep a long term, not short term, not just to figure out, hey, I'm gonna stay in here and then, I'm just gonna let it go. No, we're teaching for a legacy, long-term home ownership, and to manage it over and over and over again, to being able to ask those questions to your loan officers. They providing you with those answers. They telling you what the rates are. They telling you how the process is. And guess what? You're feeling very comfortable being able to purchase a home. I mean, a lot of people like say, oh man, it seems overwhelming to purchase a home. No, it's not. What's overwhelming is the discipline. Being able to be disciplined, to being able to save money, to move in the right direction and understand the criteria. Folks, I say this, if you're lending your money out to somebody, you have a criteria. You're going to ask them when they're going to pay you back, how they're going to pay you back. They're not you're not putting them in a hard situation with that. It's the same thing with the bank. Myself and the rest of my cohorts that's in the lending business, that's our goal. We're the bank and we want to protect the reputation of the bank so we can keep lending to the generations and generations ago. And we're doing it to make sure that our community has home ownership and people's able to get into that world of not only owning a home, but investment. How do we start investing? How do we get our next investment property that we can pass down for generations and generations to go? So shout out to Greg Clark, King Glover, as they spread some of those programs. I remember Greg, he talked about the home program where you got to sell your house to buy your next house, and there's no contingency in it through AnnieMac. That was a life changer, and that's a good program that they had. It's called Cash for Keys for it. He brought that to us. So I hope that anybody that reached out and was able to utilize some services, attaboy, Greg, it's a way to go, and your team able to help those. And folks, I'm never going to be biased. I want to share with everybody. Everybody has a different program. Everybody has a different scenario. Everybody offers different programs. We have enough that we can educate folks on what we specialize in. And sometimes, our rates might be different, but our customer service, our ability to do it and fulfill the goals to make home ownership not an option, not a suggestion, but an option, and that everybody can be able to move forward in that. So we're going to keep going through as we going to talk about lending, home buying, preparing yourself for that next step of this. And folks, our tax time is coming up next year. So guess what? Start saving your money now. I'm going to let you know, start saving your money now. So when that tax time come up, we can put some money to the side and we can start building home. We can start buying our home. We can get out of that apartment and move to the next step. We can start paying off some of our debt so we can be credible out here when we go get these loans for it. So prepare yourself. Tax season coming up. I know that might look like a lot of money, that you paid in taxes, but you're getting a return. Save that return for something you're going to need, like a home ownership, paying off debts like that, which is key to what we need to do. Next, I want to talk about our men out there that's out here in the community trying to help our young folks adapt to society. How do we do that? What are we doing to make sure that they prepared out here? So I turn Mr. Roger Turner, Mr. Kevin L. Kelly. Thank you, brothers. I appreciate you. I love you guys because y'all reaching out on another level here. We're reaching out to our young men out here that trying to make it to the next step. That's he's able to go and and get the young people on the right path. He's able to get them into school and getting them thinking about longevity out here in all of our counties. So you're going to see a lot of stuff where there are programs coming up with the Father's Coach, Mr. Kevin Kelly, and Mr. Roger Turner here, as he's not only Turner Fashion Warehouse, but he's also part of mentoring for our young men out here to make sure that they are viable part of our society, that they are an asset and not a liability, that they're continuing to seek ways to grow, and that they understand one thing, that we are here to help that next generation. And Tyrone, I want to welcome you tonight. We just going over some thankful stuff this week and really over there. Robert put on October 17, 2025, I was erroneously declared dead by the Social Security Administration. I was declared a living December the 15th. If I didn't have the money management and faith discipline, preparing for rainy days or a roller coaster ride with Johnny, I can definitely, with everybody, I can identify with everything you say. And that's what I'm talking about, man. We talking about changing lives here and the success we made. He was erroneously considered dead. That is a success. They found out it could have been identity of something, but those are steps in the right way to move forward and just keep going. So as Roger and Mr. Kelly go out here and they start building up the community, we're looking for mentors that look like us, that's out there in the community, that's able to go ahead and make sure that we're going to change the lives of our young folks. Them young folks that don't want to go through a normal ritual of going to school and stuff, that faces trials and tribulations, that faces things in their community that they want to get out of, that we talk and walk them through that. I'm challenging every man, if you have the time to sit down, that we can have a conversation with you and talk about a mentorship program out there in the community for our young folks. Because we're going to get them to the next step, and we're not going to let our young men out here suffer anymore. They got to be good supporters of their families. They got to be providers for their families. And guess what? What better way to teach them is another man just let you know that we go through sacrifice and of changing lives and doing things so we can provide for our families, so we can go to the next step and keep going, so we can make sure that everything that we're doing is valuable out here. And the young men see it. They just don't see a man sitting around, hanging around, smoking cigarettes, not doing nothing. But we say, hey, yeah, young fella, how can I help you today? What you struggling with? Let me tell you how you're going to overcome this and what's going to help you. And, I'm here to walk you through it. That's what we're trying to do for 2026. We're grabbing these young men. We're letting them know that you have a purpose. You have a calling, that you're out here for a reason. And guess what? You're going to let people know your reason is to be the best version of you can ever be, to be that man that God has called you to be. And guess what? Will you face challenges? Absolutely. But guess what? You keep pushing one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Makes me think about, I was having breakfast with my son this morning, and I was just telling him about the enemy sometimes chases us to where we can't live our purpose because he has us thinking about what happened in the past. And I said, if we just keep moving forward, asking blessings and God to guide us, that we can get over those trials and tribulations, that we're going to keep moving, because it happens to us as grown men. It happened to us today that we go out there and we're fighting with things that we struggle with every day. People's going to be nasty to us. People's going to test us. Some folks gonna defy us. Some folks want to be disrespectful, but we have to move in a positive way and say, yo, it's okay today, man. I know you're having a bad day. Let's keep moving. I forgive you. I still love you, and keep moving. The Father's house, Roger and Kevin out there, they preaching this day after day, moment after moment for it. It's gonna make the community great. It's gonna give the community a better opportunity to excel at stuff like that. And another great gentleman I had on here, good friend of mine, I thank God for him, Mr. Greg Williams. As we went out there and we were talking, and we done had some good events this year, man. It's been a great year of events that we done had where we supported Pastor, I can't think of his name right now, at the food bank up there in North Wilmington. We had the AIDS World Day that we did at the waterfall. Couple of good events. I can't think of them all, but Mr. Greg Williams out here, great mentor for us as we get ready for the next year. We got that event coming up for AIDS Delaware again. It's going to be at the waterfall. So we're promoting folks to come out, support folks that's overcoming addiction and stuff. And Greg's out there mentoring from our young kids to our older kids. He's been in that mental health feeling that working for the state, retired, but he's still pressing on. He's still moving forward. I thank him for him and Passive Air when they came on, and they was just talking about the day of hope. My testimony about the day of hope was we were in Dover at the elementary school, and Bishop Hutchinson was there singing God Rest Bishop Hutchinson right now, and Pastor here was there, but we were giving out 1,000 plates of food. Pastor Ayers just said, man, it's a day of hope for somebody. So we would making sure people were fed, but not only was there fed, we provided resources and also sneakers. I'm not talking about any old sneakers. We're talking about Nike sneakers, name brand, brand new sneakers that was given to our families and our people in the community, so they can have some good shoes and stuff. So I'm thankful that I bonded and I have a relationship with Greg, Pastor Air, and all those folks there, because they really has been inspirational to us throughout this year as we went through this time, and provided some good insight of where people can really come for resources that we're going to use. I want to talk about Mr. Greg Lathan too. He's our first. He's in the Democratic National Party for Kent County. He's our first male VP. I want to thank him for his work out here in the community too, getting our young voters out, talking about stuff that we need to be aware of that's going on, so people are educated. Mr. Greg Lathan, thank you for attending this year. You was an inspiration to some folks out there, where we got more folks coming out and understanding what's happening in not only our country, our community, right around the corner from us, and how we can make it better, how we can increase our presence here, how we can have an equal voice and speak and disagree respectfully. And I thank Mr. Greg Lathan for coming on here. We also want to thank Mr. Damien, my man Damien right here, Snipes. He's an insurance guy, and he done did a great job this year, providing people insurance quotes, providing them understanding of how the insurance process works for them home ownerships, cars, life insurance, health insurance, and he went on. Fabulous job as we grow. But we're going to bring these people back, folks, so we can continue to grow and educate our community on this stuff. So we also have Mr. Bishop Watson from National Action Network, that talked about what's happening out here in the community as well, and what we're trying to build up, and what Reverend Al Sharpton has going on, and some of the initiatives that he put forth folks. Folks, I don't want us to take it that when we talk about these folks in these committees that they have bad intentions, but they have a lot of good things that they're doing out here that we don't want to be overlooked. We don't want it to go bypass. So we thank Bishop Watson for coming on and talking about the stuff that he is doing out here with the National Action Network, NAN, as they call it here for it. And then my good friend Melvin Henson, my 203K man, the specialist, the best in the business, the one that's been doing it for years, that broke it down, gave you how to do it, understanding what the 203K is, how you find a contractor for it. I told Mr. Melvin that this year, 2026, is going to be another year because we're going to run a class in Delaware now. We always talked about it outside and on the screen, but we're going to run a live class for 203K loans, how they work, what's the beneficial part of them, what's going on out there to get them done, and how's it going to work. And he's a great resource for that. That's why in 2026, we're going to educate, and I'm just going to throw a number out there, 25 more people that understand how those 203K loans work, how they're so beneficial to us as we go forth in what we're doing. So we're proud. We're proud that that stuff's able to go through. Also, I have Miss Tracy McMillan. And folks, if I leave somebody out, charge it to my head and not my heart, because I'm thankful for everybody. I'm just going through a list of some folks here. I might not get to everything body tonight, but I'm just so excited that I'm just showing y'all what a great year we had going on. Miss Tracy McMillan, she ran the program at Dell Tech for our summer youth, that where we have a youth program for our young folks where they can go and do something recreation in the summer that's affordable, and that we're finding somebody and we look for sponsors to help the kids that wanted to attend. We are thankful for Tracy and her ability to promote that program that we had for it. It was a great program. It was a great opportunity for it, and we thank her for it. I also want to promote my man Andre Curtis. I want to thank him. You know, he came on early in the year, and you know, the real love that I have for Andre is that, you know, he's always helping. You know, he's a brother that's helping. He educates. He drives. He supports. I thank him for him coming on and explaining some of that contracting work. A lot of folks don't understand that it's a level of expertise you need when you're doing that. And guess what? We need somebody to train. And Andre came and gave a good presentation of where he started from. I mean, self-taught, done good, has rental properties, and encouraging people that everybody's able to do it. Everybody's able to get to that stage of having rental properties and doing it continuously to make it work. To understand how to do that rehab, to understand how it's going to take some steps to get to the finished project. But it takes patience and it takes understanding. So, man, shout out to you, Kurt. You know, I appreciate you coming on, sharing that knowledge with us, and keep it going. But we got to bring you back because, you know, we want to have another episode. When we talk about 203Ks, you know, we're going to let him chime in with a little rehab and give you understand about some rehab work when you need that in the 203K too. For it. Next, we're going to A.B. Poston. My man A.B. Poston, he come to us, and A.B. With Prime America, because he wanted to give people an opportunity to talk about financial planning. We struggle with financial planning today, folks. We struggle with understanding how to deal with it, how to handle it, how to prepare for it. We see money in our account and we just want to keep spending, 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 spending. But we have to have some discipline in there. So AV Posting gave us some insight on that, and shout out to AV on that as well. Miss Ramona Phillips, the lady, have nothing but love for her, talks about trauma, dealing with it, overcoming with it, going through it, promoting it out there and letting folks know that it's a real thing. We have a lot of people hurting out here, but we need to find help for them, and we need to get them to a place where they're able to get comfortable, they're able to deal with it, and guess what? And they just keep moving. Trauma is nothing that we want to take lightly, but it's stuff that kind of hinders us when we don't handle it in a proper way. And Miss Ramona Phillips, she did an outstanding job to show where she had made strides. She came to the next step, and she did it in a way that people feel comfortable and they feel thankful. I want to thank Mr. Dalton, as he was one of our investors, president of the Ice Cap Bank out of New York and stuff. And he gave us some insight on investment loans that we were dealing with. That was very, very important. So folks understood what was going on out here. Folks understood what was taking place. And guess what? They came and he just made it plain. And I want to thank him for his time and his services that he placed on it, and he did a great job with that. I thank you for all my investors that came on. Solomon came on, which was hard money lending as well. He talked about it. I had KJ come on as he talks about financing DSCR loans and foreign P&L statements, profit and loss loans from their bank down there. Also, we had a local councilman, Mr. Drew Nelson. Thank you, Drew. I appreciate you, man. He's our local councilman in Smyrna, and he talks about some things that they're doing out here. And it's a wonderful opportunity to sit down and hear some of the meetings that they're having, that they're able to educate the community, that their voice can be heard. And we have those meetings every first and third Monday at the Smyrna, down on Main Street in Smyrna, right off of Main Street in here. And then we had Mr. Kier Burkell. Mr. Kier Burkell talked to us about that crypto, that stuff that everybody's trying to throw an X up, no, don't do it, and everything. He talked about it. It's beneficial. It's an investment. Is it risky? Absolutely. And guess what? You can still go through it and make money on it and go through there. I thank Mr. Kier Burkell for coming out and showing up and giving us that insight on that as well. Shout out to Marquise Nelson, EXP. He's a realtor out here. He was letting the folks know about real estate dreams and stuff. He's a first generation real estate owner. He provided that inspiration for it. And that inspiration gave them the opportunity to just grow and grow and grow and grow. And so, Marquise is still out there. He's working hard. He's doing the best he can for it, but he's reaching customers, and we're going to make it a goal that we keep reaching out and getting these people in the homes. And thank you, Marquise. Dear to my heart, I'm Johnny. I also hope next year we can talk about the process of assuming another person's mortgage, the requirements. I just heard about that. And Robert Dickinson, that's going to be part of one of our seminars. We are going to talk about assumptions here on loans and mortgages and have that topic come out here so people understand what it is. It's a real thing out here to assume a loan and being worthy to be able to do that. Two of my favorite people too that I had on there, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. Shout out to them for the Deanna Johnson Foundation, Faith Deanna Johnson Foundation. We went and also did the run walk that we had at UAD. Miss and Mrs. Johnson, thank you for coming on, sharing that story, fighting that fight that people can go out here and get tested for those illnesses that sometimes require a specialist, and they went and won that vote on Capitol Hill here. I'm so thankful for that opportunity that we had that, and the run walk was fabulous. Folks, next year I want y'all to come out to that run walk, support it. It was a wonderful time there. I learned so much, met some great people. We had some folks out there giving their stories as well, but we're going to keep talking about that, Miss Faith Deanna Johnson, and promoting that this year again. We're gonna keep growing that step after step, moment after moment. That's gonna be part of my group of participants this year on the podcast, because we need to keep on talking about it and showing film and video of what happened out there, how it happened. But Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, thank you so much for sharing your time with me that day on it for it. We had a backup for Miss Michelle Knight that came on, and I want to give a shout out to Miss Knight. She gave me the opportunity for this podcast, and I want to give a shout out to her and thank her for that opportunity to go on his podcast as well for it. And folks, we just, man, it's just so much happened out here. We have Miss Diane Calloway. Life is delicious. Vegan. Went out there to Glasgow Park to her event as well. And we had a great time meeting some folks out there that was out there running, walking, eating healthy, changing their lives, getting into better habits so they can live longer lives. So I thank Miss Calloway for introducing us into that light. Folks, it's just so much that we have done this year that I'm excited for. I'm just thankful for it, and for all the businesses that came on. Nick Aguilar, and I can keep going on with the other businesses came on. Mr. Barry Merrill, Nick Aguilar and his landscaping business, Mr. Barry Merrill too, and his spoken word of what he's doing out here and being a mentor out here in the community here. Miss Charlene Coleman doing strings and things, designing. These are entrepreneurs that want to take a step in the right place. Miss Angelina Mosley, another realtor that really good out here in the community, promoting, telling people about home ownership and that everybody has that opportunity. Mr. A.B. Burton, contracting services. He shared a little bit about contracting and what needs to be done. Mr. Denzel Merritt from Mixstar, which talks about them able to set up and doing pop-ups for you to assist with your audio visual out there in the community, which was also Mr. David Pope, as we talked about his New Life Church. And he runs one of the best food pantries you can have, and he's giving out great food out here in our community for it. Then we also, we had a brother, Mr. Bill, Dollar Bill. We from United. I want to thank everybody that called Dollar Bill that helped them invest. Talk about life insurance too, investing to give you some financial freedom. He talked about financial principles. All that stuff played a major role out here in our community, folks. And, I know I'm coming to the end of my time now, and whoever I left out, please forgive me. Nothing intentional, but I just wanted to let everybody know that we had a great year, great opportunity, great guests, great resources that was provided. But guess, best thing of all, we all learned something. And our goal is to learn that we're going to grow. That's why in 2026, we're going to be even better than we were before. We're going to grow so much that folks are going to say, what has happened? But I want to give a shout out with all due respect to my wife. Allow me the time to be away, to run my podcast, to be able to be a resource out here. I love you, honey. And I thank you for giving me that opportunity to just keep pressing on. Because sometimes, I don't want to do it. But, she's right there by me to keep me going, keep me pushing, keep me in the right direction. And we need folks in our corner like that. Folks, we end in 2025 out with a bang. I'm just so excited that this is our last show of 2025. 52 weeks we did this. And am proud that we had this opportunity. Next year is going to be nothing short of this as we continue to expand and grow in this business. And we're going to just start talking about all the stuff that's going to happen within our community. So folks, don't miss out. Next year, we're still going to be live and direct. We're going to be ready to go. But most of all, we're going to be there for you. For it as we end this year, give yourself a pat on the back. You made it through. You went through some struggles, but guess what? You didn't give up. And guess what? You not giving up is a chance for you to continue to grow your business, yourself personally and physically, but most of all, being a light out there in the community. Folks, until next year, when we see you, I want you to have a great new year. I want you to be able to be prosperous. And guess what? Think of one thing, that God's blessing you to go to the next level of your life, and you're going to keep pressing forward. Thank y'all for joining in on our last show. We will see you in 2026 with a bang, with a new resolution, and to keep going. Y'all have a great night and a happy new year. Thanks again.